So today I want to talk about a really, really important part of sales that often gets overlooked when we talk about all the different steps, and that's empathy. So empathy is something that often gets missed after talking about goals because we think that we've reached the depth of what they actually want by asking them, okay, well, what's your goal over the next 6 months? Or what do you want to happen? Because we're all taught that in sales, we have to ask for someone's goal and then basically help them see what the gap is between them and the goal. So that's good, right? But it could be better. You could be an excellent salesperson and actually close the deal in the discovery instead of handling all these, oh, I don't know, I want to think about it, or I got to ask my wife objections. And the way that you do that is digging deeper behind the goal and really having empathy for your prospect. Okay, so let's start with you, because a person who is not operating from a very high level, it's really hard for them to have empathy. So we talk a lot about the Map of Consciousness here by David Hawkins, and I will link, as always, the foundational lesson to the Map of Consciousness. Basically, it's a logarithmic scale from 0 to 1,000 that goes from apathy to enlightenment and everything in between: fear, willingness, pride, all these things. The dividing line is 200. If you're above 200, you're in power. If you're below 200, you're in force. So in order to have empathy for a prospect, you must be operating at least 200, which is courage. Because you cannot be empathetic and get out of your own head if you're operating from consciousness levels below 200, like fear or desire. So number one, you have to check yourself before the call and make sure that you're operating from courage, willingness, reason. Go look at the Map of Consciousness and make sure that you're there. Okay, number two, you have to dig deeper. So when you ask a prospect, what's your goal over the next 6 months? So let's say it's one of my prospects and I'm talking to somebody and they left corporate and started a business, and I asked them, okay, you have a consulting business. Looks like you started in the last year or so. What's your goal over the next 6 months or so? And they're like, my goal is to hit $20,000 a month. And I say, why? And they're like, well, because that's gonna cover my bills and give me a little bit of a cushion. Okay, most people will wanna stop there. Having empathy and going to the goal behind the goal makes you go deeper. So instead of just accepting their answer for that I wanna hit $20,000 a month because that covers my bills plus a little extra, yeah, that's reasonable. You keep digging. And why is that important to you? Why is it important for you to have this business cover your bills? And they're like, well, I had a conversation with my wife when I decided to leave corporate, and we agreed that she would give me 1 year for us to feel comfortable before I have to go back to corporate. Oh, wow, that's interesting. And what happens if you don't hit that goal of $20,000 a month and you have to go back to corporate? Ugh, I would feel absolutely horrible because I told everyone I was leaving forever. That's it. That's what you're looking for. Because that is absolutely priceless. That shame of having to go back to corporate and not having to endure that shame is priceless. And so if you're able to dig all the way down to that very, very bottom level, the deal's closed. You don't need to handle a bunch of objections. You don't need to be like, oh, it's too expensive, let me ask my wife, da-da-da. Because they know that they need to make this business work so that their wife can be supportive of them so they don't have to go back to corporate. So now the pitch is just, okay, well, Here's how we do that. And it becomes simple, right? So the vibe here is slow down to speed up. You think that you're going really deep into this goal question and wasting a bunch of time, but you're not wasting time. If you go deep into the goal question and why they want something, the rest of the call will speed up. There's going to be less logistics because the logistics don't matter. Because now you've hit on the only thing that really, really matters. Okay, so now let's talk about some tactical things that you need to make sure that you're doing when you're going a level deeper. Number one, always make sure to use their language. So if this guy's talking and he says, for instance, you know, I had a deep conversation with my wife, and when we have these deep conversations, I know it really means something. You can't say, okay, so you talked to your wife. You can, but it's not quite as good. You have to say, okay, got it. So this deep conversation basically revealed to you that you need to hit $20,000 months so that you don't have to go back to corporate in shame. It has to be their words. It cannot be your words, because at the end of the day, the reason that we're doing all this is because people buy from people who deeply, deeply empathize and understand with them. And in order for them to feel like you're deeply empathizing with them and understanding them, you must use their language. Okay, another trick here. So if you are not sure if you've gotten to the bottom, you want to gently ask them, is there anything else? So let's say you're on a call with this guy and he's like, well, I want to hit $20,000 months, and it's really important to me because that covers my bills. Okay, got it. And it covers your bills, and is that the only reason? He's like, well, it's something that I promised my wife. And you get in this whole I promised my wife conversation, but it's not quite there, and you can feel it. And so you look at them and you say, got it. Is there anything else? And the prospect most of the time will open up to you and say, well, I just can't go back to corporate. I can't. I told everybody I was leaving and I was never coming back. And then you feel it. You feel when you've hit bottom and you've really hit that nerve. And when you emotionally connect with someone like that, the deal is done. People buy based on emotion and they justify with logic. And you have to connect with them emotionally. You have to make them feel seen. You have to make them feel understood. You have to make them feel like you are gonna lead them to their best outcome. Okay, so one thing that we have to remember that we've talked about in videos before, it's not you against the prospect. It's you and the prospect against falsehood. So you're leading the prospect into the truth. Again, this is another David Hawkins thing that we've talked about in other videos. So the truth is above consciousness level 200. Falsehood is below 200. So you're walking together on this path to lead them from the fear of not hitting $20,000 months, the desire to do it by just taking any client, into courage and willingness. You're banded together to walk them into the truth and to their best outcome. One little caveat, this is not people pleasing. This is not, oh yeah, I'll, do anything I have to do to help you get there. You want a discount? No problem. No, this is having real empathy does not mean being a bitch. Having real empathy means that you're a strong leader that holds them to the fire when it comes to paying the price, doing what needs to be done, getting off their ass and doing it now. This is what you need to be doing, not people pleasing. Okay, so let's review. So what we're leading here with is empathy. You're not just looking at some superficial goal of $20,000 a month. You're looking at what's really under that and connecting to your prospect and understanding them. And if you feel like this is prying or getting too much into their business because that's what you've been taught all their life, no, it's actually giving a damn. And there's not that many people that have given a damn about this prospect, so they're going to be happy that you are. So the way that you do this is by asking more questions, going deeper, getting all the way down to the bottom. Make sure that you use their words and make sure that you're the one that is banded with them, walking into truth and out of falsehood instead of competing with them. If you get to the point where you can really connect with your prospects that way, dig to the bottom of whatever their problem is, and make them feel like you're going to lead them out of that problem, watch how many deals you close.